Hi, and welcome to Pathwise Live. My name is Tim Bradley. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and author of the training guide, Creating a Life I Love. I'll be your host today. We'll be talking about mindfulness, how to get in the moment and do what works. Mindfulness. There's no time like the present. It's the only place you can learn from your past, create from your future, and do what works. In the game of life, there's three things we usually do. We try to avoid the game altogether, or we watch the game, or we play in the game. The paradox of it all is no matter what we do, as long as we're alive, we're playing the game. It is the game of life, and we're all in it. The big question is not whether you're avoiding or watching or playing the game. The big question is, does it work? Does it work for you, for others, and for the world? Mindfulness is what we're talking about now, what it is, why it's important, and how to do it. We'll cover all of those. Mindfulness is a key skill that frees you from your old programming, gives you access to infinite possibilities, and helps you choose to do what works for you in the moment. Mindfulness can reduce stress, boost immune functioning, reduce chronic pain, lower blood pressure, reduce the risk of heart disease, and make it easier to cope when you're sick. Being mindful makes you less judgmental, critical, and defensive, and it provides you with easier access to self-esteem, love, happiness, peace, and joy. Mindfulness increases your awareness. It takes you out of autopilot and interrupts old patterns of behavior that may not work for you. It broadens the gap between stimulus and response and weakens impulses to engage in behaviors that interfere with creating a life you love. Mindfulness is different than meditation in that you can do mindfulness anywhere, anytime. You can do it at home, you can do it at work, you can do it while driving. In fact, it's really helpful to do while driving. And you don't need to have any special technique. You don't need to have you don't have to sit or stand in a particular way, have candles burning or background music. I mean, you can do all of those. It's just not necessary to get the full benefit from mindfulness. It's a way of controlling your mind so your mind doesn't control you. So let's look at some of the skills of mindfulness. There's two basic sets of skills. There's the what skills and the how skills. The what skills are observe, describe, and participate. Stay with it. And the how skills, how do you observe, describe, and participate? One thing at a time, without judgment, and effectively. Do what works. So let's take a look at each one of those. The what skills: observe, describe, and participate. Just observe what's going on. Like a baby observes his fingers and hasn't any language to express what they are. Then describe it, put it to words. And after you've done that, just stay with it. Don't cling to it. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't drink it away or whatever it is you do to escape the moment. Just stay with it. Then the how skills are one thing at a time. So what does that mean? Your brain is really, it takes all the sensors from your system, from your brain and your body, your five senses, your body sensations. And every time as you're experiencing life, those sensations are sent, the information is sent to your brain, and your brain makes some kind of meaning out of it. So it creates a story. And if you're not aware that that's what's happening, it's pretty easy to get caught up in the story and believe it's true. So you break it up into one thing at a time. The way to do that is you ask yourself what's happening. So if you're getting mindful to this moment, you ask yourself what's happening right now. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Right? If you're getting mindful to a past experience, act as if it's happening right now, like it's a video clip from your brain. And just ask yourself, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening. This happened, this happened, this happened, and then it ended with this. Okay, that's one thing at a time. Then after what's happening, for every what's happening part, what was I thinking? What was I thinking when this was happening, when that was happening? And just what I was thinking. Then, what was I feeling? Just what I was feeling. When this was happening, when this was happening, what was I feeling? Then what was I doing with my body, or what was I saying? So, whatever I was doing with my physical body or saying, when this happened, this happened, this happened. And finally, what was going on in my body, or what is going on in my body as this is happening. So this happened, I feel tension in my chest. This happened, I feel butterflies in my stomach. That's breaking it into one thing at a time, and it keeps you from getting caught up in the story of it all, so that you believe it's true and have to react to it. Then non-judgmentally. Non-judgmentally means just that. Everything you observe and describe and stay with one thing at a time, don't judge it. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not right, or it's not wrong. Don't should on yourself or make it should be something or could be something or make it mean something. Just observe it as it is, no judgment. And then once you've done all that, ask yourself, what works? What works for me? What works for my family, my friends? What works for the world? And then do what works. So let's review. The what skills: observe, describe, stay with it. And the how skills: one thing at a time, just what's happened, then your thoughts, then your emotions, then your behaviors, then what's going on in your body. Do it without judgment. Don't make it mean anything or should be something or blame it or criticize it or judge it. Just accept it as it is. And then ask yourself, knowing what I know, what works? And then do what works. So in the questions that I asked at the beginning, do you live in the past more? Do you live in the present? Do you live in the future? Well, if you're a person that lives in the past more, you live from your old programming in your brain. In other words, from everything your brain has come up with about life since you were born until now. The problem with living in the past is the past doesn't exist. Did you know that? The past does not exist, never has. You can't find it anywhere in reality. Now, outside of time and space, the past, present, and future are all one. But in this reality, there is no past and there is no future. And if you're living from the past, you're restricted by everything that's happened in your past. So if you've had a wonderful past, not a problem. If you've had a lot of problems in the past, a lot of emotional stress, trauma, then living in the past, you're just going to recreate and relive everything that you've done. And so your future is going to be just like your past. If you live in the future, well, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a future. It's not in front of you. I mean, look for it. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. And so people who live in the future often are really making expectations about what should happen, hoping that something's going to happen. Well, maybe I'll win the lottery, whatever. In the past or the future, you don't have very many possibilities. In the present, if you live in the present, that means right now you're aware of what you're thinking and feeling and doing and recognizing that all of it is just interpretation of what you're experiencing. And then you're doing what works. You, without judgment, you have available infinite possibilities. So I recommend living in the present and just notice when you're in the past and when you're in the future. There's nothing wrong with living in either any of the three. If you want more access to infinite possibilities, live in the present and get mindful. So check out my links below, find out more information. You can go on my website. You can look at some of the videos. Our videos are half off right now. And you can, if you want to find out about setting an appointment, you can do that too. Any questions? And I don't see anybody on, so we're just going to go ahead and say thank you very much for watching. And next week, we will be working on how to do your own interfering and created behavior analysis. So have a great day, and thanks for watching.